Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. If you like the video today, please come in and share it because I'm going to highlight one of the greatest football players to play the linebacker position in the history of college football, Mr. Derrick Thomas, out of the University of Alabama. So if you like the video this morning, please come in and share it. One more time, I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Well, when you talk about the linebacker position in college football, it's a special position. It's like a fraternity. And I think when I talk about this young man from Miami, Mr. Derrick Thomas, he might be the best linebacker that's ever came through college football. Outstanding guy. The state of Florida represented at a high level, out of Miami. And we know all about the football players out of Miami and South Florida. Because it's a gentleman that's part of this platform in 100 Yards of Football. He was a two-time All-American at Florida State, 12-year veteran with the Atlanta Falcons. Bobby Butler doesn't go one day reminding all of us at 100 Yards Football it's something in the water in South Florida. Well, this young man right here, he proved it in his career at the University of Alabama from 1985 to 1988. The thing I like about Derrick Thomas, he's what Alabama football is about. Swagger. The elegance, the pride, the winning, tradition of what Alabama football is all about. Derrick Thomas was really groomed for greatness because one thing that people don't know, his father was an Air Force pilot during the Vietnam War, flying B-52s. So it was nothing that Derrick Thomas wasn't going to be able to do in his life. He just chose college football in the University of Alabama. Let's talk about the young man in comparison. See, before Derrick Thomas got to the University of Alabama, it was some great linebackers that played in college football. I'm going to start with a great list. I'm going to start in the SEC because I'm 61 years old and I've been following SEC football since I was 7 years old, since 1967. I saw some great linebackers come through, like Mike Vincent out of LSU, Steve Canner out of Tennessee, Jack Haskell Reynolds out of Tennessee, Jackie Walker out of Tennessee, D.D. Lewis out of Mississippi State, Barry Krause, the University of Alabama Roll Tide, Johnny Cooks out of Mississippi State, Wilbert Marshall out of Florida, and Cornelius Bennett preceded Mr. Derrick Thomas, and he was out of the University of Alabama. And one more thing about Derrick Thomas. The tradition of the linebacker position, I just mentioned Mr. Barry Krause. He also had to follow Leroy Jordan, University of Alabama, Dallas Cowboys. Thomas Boyd was a great football player. E.J. Jr., first-round draft pick at that time of the Phoenix Cardinals. See, he had royalty and loyalty to follow coming into the SEC. And then when you look on the national level, all the linebackers that came through, those All-Americans like Mr. Thomas was at Alabama. You had Jerry Robinson at UCLA. You had George Crummy that had preceded him at Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner. You had the great Lawrence Taylor, North Carolina. And you had Darryl Tyler at West Virginia. All these linebackers I mentioned, they were some of the best I ever seen play. And then let me throw another name in there, Woodrow Lowe. But Derrick Thomas, in my opinion, might have been the best of them all. The guy was a hell of an athlete. He was a safety at 6'3", 255 pounds, playing the linebacker position. But when I think about Derrick Thomas, I think about him being one of the most hellified athletes to play the linebacker position. And when I think about him, I think about when I give his grade report, I look at his pass rushing ability, A+. His speed with power and burst, A+. His feet coming off the edge, just the explosiveness, A+. And the hands, getting through the offensive lineman, A+. He reminded me, and I'm going to use this terminology. When you're talking about athlete, let me go back one more time. He was a safety playing linebacker at 6'3", 255. In the lateral movement, he's probably the fastest linebacker that I can see that can move lateral. and coming off the line of scrimmage. I don't want to give no disrespect to Lawrence Taylor, but Derrick Thomas, that speed off the edge was something special. And I go back to this. When I think about his overall ability, the total package, watching him rushing the quarterback and having all those tackles for losses, he reminds me of a David Thompson that played in North Carolina State, the basketball player, and his athletic ability. And David Thompson competing in the 1976 NBA, the ABA Slam Dunk Championship that had Larry Nance and Dr. J. That's how athletic Derrick Thomas was. Let's go back to the 1988 season, where his junior year, 18 sacks. Then his senior year in 1988, boy. If there was any football player that had a special year, you got to show him to me. Derrick Thomas, 27 sacks in 1988. SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Buckets Award winner. Boy. And then think about this. Career NCAA sack leader. And at the time, they weren't keeping statistics, but later on the road, they finally watched game film and came up with all these numbers. He had 52 sacks for his career. 74 tackles for losses. But it was two games that really told you that it's probably never going to be done. Against Penn State that year, he had 9 quarterback hurries, 3 sacks, and a safety in one game. Then his last game of the year, against Texas A&M, he had 6 tackles for losses. Oh my God. 3 sacks in 1988 against Texas A&M. Then think about this. His career, he blocked 7 kicks, forced 10 fumbles, and he had 39 tackles for losses in 1988. There's been no football player in college football that's been special than Derrick Thomas at the linebacker position. As the great Mark Bass out of Lufkin, Texas, Mark Denham says, I'm sorry. You got to show me one. Hell of an athlete. And just to show you how special he was drafted in the 1989 draft. Oh my God. 4th overall. Troy Aikman went number 1, Hall of Famer. Tony Manich didn't work out. Barry Sanders, Hall of Famer. And after Derrick Thomas, Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer. And Derrick Thomas himself was a Hall of Famer. And tell you another thing that made him so special, he went to the National Football League and had 126 sacks. But this what sticks out to me most of all with his pro career. He sacked John Elway 26 times. So when we think about the young man out of Miami, South Miami Senior High School, and you look at the linebacker position, and I know I said some great linebackers, Jerry Robinson, George Crummy, Lawrence Taylor, Darryl Tiley, Hugh Green, Wilbur Marshall, Barry Krause, Woodrow Lowe, Leroy Jordan, E.J. Jr., Thomas Boyd, Cornelius Bennett. I'm sorry. Has not been a better football player at the linebacker position. And he played at a school right now that's rocking the college football world under Nick Saban. It's a great honor today, based on how that football program is going in Tuscaloosa, to bring up, in my opinion, the greatest defensive player that's played at Alabama. And that includes all the ones that just passed through the door, like C.J. Mosley, Dante Hightower. None of them can carry the jockstrap of Derrick Thomas. Very special football player, people. And when I think about him, and all the Alabama fans think about him, you should be proud. And that's why all the Alabama fans, I'm jealous of you. Because this young man and how your program is going, that's why y'all walking around this great country here in the Southeast saying Roll Tide and talking Leonard Skinner. It's because of this young man right here. He was a very special football player. Maybe the greatest linebacker that's came through college football. So my final words about Derrick Thomas. It's like the singer, Axl Rose, of that group Guns N' Roses. We got fun in games. We got everything you want, honey. And we know the names. When Derrick Thomas played college football at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, he said, "Welcome to the jungle," because it's my jungle. I'm Derrick Thomas, the baddest, the coldest, and the most outstanding linebacker that's ever walked through Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'd like to give kudos to my producer, who always do an outstanding job, from Douglasville, Georgia, my man, Mr. Logan Landers. Once again, I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's been an honor to talk about this young man right here from the University of Alabama, Mr. Derrick Thomas. God bless. And I'm Vincent Turner of 100 Yards of Football.